So now we're seeing that Zimbabwe is an accredited implementing entity, and COP25 is also around the corner. What do you think are some of the issues that we can now table so that we can actually start accessing funding into dealing with our climate change issues in the country?
Zimbabwe is blessed with the national climate policy already, and also a national climate change response strategy. And we've also managed to come up with a climate smart agriculture manual and a child-friendly policy. And in the national climate change response strategy, the country has already identified areas of where hotspot areas which are being impacted negatively by climate change, and also some interventions which the country could really implement with funding being available. So the areas to do with water resources, some of the hotspot issues which we would want to see the country really being assisted. Our water reservoirs, whilst they are there, are being heavily silted. And in some cases, rivers that flow, they dump their waters into the Indian Ocean and any other areas which we do not have access to. So we would want to see the communities being empowered to have adequate water resources in order for agricultural productivity to thrive. This is number one. Then secondly, we have issues to do with health. Issues to do with malaria, typhoid, cholera, they are becoming more and more prevalent due to the flooding that is taking place. And to this effect, we would want to see programs and projects coming on board that will address the issues to do with flooding, and how communities could be empowered for them to not to be subjected to the post even disaster impacts, and also to be prepared to withstand these disasters prior to disasters. So we are working with the Department of Civil Protection to ensure that they mainstream climate change into disaster risk management. And also one other issue that is very pertinent is the nature and the architecture of our buildings, our bridges, our dams. We want to see the local authorities ensuring that as they build these bridges and dams, their bridges can withstand the impacts of climate change, and they can withstand even the flooding that may ensue as a result of these extensive extreme events which are caused by climate change. We've noticed so many houses being ripped off, their roofs, damages to infrastructure, people, livestock. All these issues is because our infrastructure, building standards, they are not matching with what is happening in terms of climate change right now. And going on to COP is going to focus on issues to do with the compliance of countries to reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases, which the countries have put across to the United Nations under the framework of intended nationally determined contributions. Like Zimbabwe, we are to reduce our emissions by 33% per capita of what we were emitting in 2012. By 2030, we should have reduced in the energy sector by 33%. How are we going to do it? The rule book for implementation of our actions is the one that is being discussed at COP25, and also the issues to do with loss and damage. How are our losses and damages going to be compensated by those countries who accepted historical responsibilities of having caused climate change? Is it in terms of insurance? Is it in terms of real money that they have to provide to the countries who are being impacted right now? I think we are all aware that already before the season sets in motion, already we have had impacts of these extreme events affecting people in Mashonaland Central, in Manicaland, and in many other places. So who is going to compensate for this? So these are the issues which will be discussed also at COP25 under the framework of the Warsaw International Mechanism on Loss and Damage.
Okay, and as you're talking about this, most of talk has been around just raising awareness on climate change, and we really haven't been having a proper implementation of some of these strategies. How are you going to ensure that all these strategies are going to be implemented as we go forward?
As we move forward, the national implementing entity for the adaptation fund will be championing and driving the process of collecting ideas and efforts from all the climate change players in the country to ensure that we have very bankable projects that we can be with funding from the Adaptation Fund. Already, the Climate Change Management Department has been working with development partners and other stakeholders in Manicaland to demonstrate resilience and also to come up with nutritional guidance that can assist communities in the wake of climate change. The department also managed to mobilize resources to resuscitate one of the biggest irrigation schemes that had been left dilapidated in Chimanimani and now has been operational, but it was again destroyed by Cyclone Idai, unfortunately. And the ministry is also in Chirezi, in 6 districts, assisting communities with water resources and powered by solar in order for us to have a stronger adaptive capacity. We are also in Gokwe South, in Lupane, as well as in Bulilima to ensure, but these are micro scale. Now with the national implementing entity having been established, having been accredited by the Adaptation Fund, we are now looking forward to bigger programs that can ensure resilience, not only at micro scale, but at country level by communities and stakeholders.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay.
Are you still around?